Hi there, this video is about how to play the first chords on the guitar. We call these open chords because most of them have open strings, which means you don't touch the string, you just play it. For example, if I put my finger here, now that's not an open string, but if I take my finger away and play the string, that's what we call an open string. So the first chords that you normally learn to play on the guitar are these chords that are down here toward the nut. The nut is the piece of plastic that the strings go over at the end here. On the web page you should find a link to a PDF file, and it looks like this. It says open chords, the basic chords, and it's got a C chord, an A chord, a D chord, and an E chord, and an F chord, and a G chord. These are all major chords. And at the bottom we've got three minor chords: E minor, A minor, D minor. So this time I'm going to show you how to do the C chord, A chord, G chord, E chord, and D chord. If you put those letters together, it spells the word caged. So you can remember that for later, because there's a whole system for learning the guitar called the caged system, based on the shapes of those 5 basic chords. So the first thing to do is to make sure we're in tune. If you don't have an electronic tuner, you might want to pick one up like this. This one's by a company called Untitled, but there's a lot of different ones out there. The way this one works is it clamps on the end of your guitar like this, and then you play the string, turn it on. Has a little screen on it, and when you play the string it shows you if it's in tune or not. If it isn't, you have to tune it up. There's a lot of other kinds of tuners you can get. You can probably download one into your computer if you have speakers. There's probably free ones even available. You can get little applications for your smartphone, like your iPhone. I don't know about Android phones, probably. You can also just get a piano or something that makes the correct tones and tune your guitar that way. I'll just play the strings for you, and the names of the strings are E, A, D, G, B, and E. And I came up with a silly sentence to help you remember that. Elephants always do good by eating. E, A, D, G, B, E. So here's the E string, and we call this the 6th string because it's the lowest sounding string. A, D, G, B, and the top E string. Again, I call this the top string because it's the highest sounding string. It's the string number 1. It's a little counterintuitive because it's the one closest to the ground, but it's the highest sounding, so we call it the highest string, and this is the lowest because the lowest sounding. Okay, let's get right into the chords. So the thing you want to remember learning chords is to play one by one, the notes or the strings one by one, and make sure that each string sounds clearly before moving on to the next string. So the C chord, you put your third finger, also here's your finger numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4. Third finger on the third fret, or just before the third fret, in between the second and third fret. Press down, play that note. I'm using a pick. You don't have to use a pick, you can use your thumb or a finger. I like to use a pick. Next note is the second fret of the D string. So again, we got the first note nice and clear. If it sounds something like this, there my finger's right on top of the fret, so that's no good. You have to move a little bit behind it to get a nice clear tone. Another problem, it might sound like this. Well, I'm not pressing hard enough, so press a little harder, get that clear tone. Now we're ready for the next note. That's the second fret of the D string. Okay, with the second finger, with the two together. And when you pick, you move the pick so that it rests against the next string. Not sure you can see that. So that you're angling it like that. Okay. Next string is an open G string, so you don't touch the third string. And next we've got first finger on first fret of second string, the B string. And last, open E string, so don't touch the open E string. Now, a problem a lot of people run into is, say they get the first two notes, and then the next note, it's a muffled sound. So the problem is that you have to stand your finger up. You can't lay it down. You have to kind of stand it up to allow space for the third string to ring and vibrate under your second finger there. And the same thing can happen on the top E string. You might get, because your first finger is laying down, you want to stand it up so that there's space for that top E string to vibrate. If I lay it down, I get, stand it up, right. Once you get them all clear, then you can play them all together, which is called a strum. Again, you want to angle the pick so that it hits the next string. Or if you play with your thumb, the same thing. So this chord you do not play the sixth string normally. So just starting from the fifth string. That's the C chord. Next chord in the caged system would be A. A chord, you've got three fingers right in a row on the second fret. First finger, second fret of D string. Second finger, second fret G string. Third finger, second fret B string. So they're a little crowded in there. So it's impossible to put your fingers parallel to the fret, so you can put them in there sort of at an angle. Again, the main thing is to get a nice clear tone. This chord starts on the A string, to where it gets its name. That's the root of the chord. So an open A, and first finger, second fret, D string. Second finger, second fret, G string. Third finger, second fret, B string. And open E string. Once those are all clear, go ahead and strum it. Next chord is the G chord. There's two ways to play a G chord, or two different fingerings. The way I like to play it is the way that's on the PDF chord, PDF chart. Use your little finger, the fourth finger, on the third fret of the top E string. Third finger goes on the third fret of the bottom E string. So this is a little bit of a stretch. Takes a little while to get used to. The second finger goes on the second fret of the the A string, the fifth string. So again, from the bottom, get the first note clear. Go to the next note, second fret A string with second finger. Now there's three open strings in a row, open D, open G, open B, and then third fret E string. Once those are all clear, strum it. Again, if you don't stand up your second finger, it's possible that you will touch the D string with the fat part of your finger, and you'll get this sound. The D string won't be ringing clear, so you have to stand that finger up to allow space underneath it. Okay, so open G chord. The other way to do it, if this is a little difficult, which it is for some beginners, is to change the fingering. So now you have your third finger on the third fret of the first string, second finger, third fret, bottom string, E string, and first finger on second fret of A string. Some people find this easier. That works fine too. The reason I like the way it's written on the chart is it leaves your first finger open to do other things with. For example, that's called a suspended 4, and when you play it this way, you can't do that, so I prefer this way. In the beginning, you can do it this way, either way. Next chord is E. E is a fairly easy chord. So this one you play all 6 strings also. It's got an open E on the bottom. That's the root of the chord. Second finger, second fret, 5th string. Third finger, second fret, D string. First finger, first fret, G string. Open B, open E. Once those are all clear, again, if it's not clear, for example, if you play, oh, you got a problem there. You have to fix that problem before you go on. The problem again is my first finger is lying down so that the fat part is touching the B string instead of standing up and allowing the B string to ring. And go ahead and strum it. And the last chord is the D chord that we're going to look at today. D chord, I always think it looks like a triangle. If you look on the chart, you can see that your first finger is on the second fret of the third string. Third finger, third fret, second string, B string. And second finger, second fret, top E string. So it looks kind of like a triangle. Now this one, you don't play the bottom 2 strings, the E and the A. Don't play those. You'll see on the chart there's an X above the grid pattern, meaning don't play those. Also on the chart you see a circle above the open strings that you do play. So this one starts on the 4th string, that's the D string, that's where it gets its name, that's the root of the chord. And strum. Another tip, those are the 5 caged chords, C-A-G-E-D. You have to cut your fingernails on your fretting hand. If you're left-handed player playing left-handed, it would be your right hand. My right hand I actually have a little bit longer nails for picking. But this hand nails are cut as short as possible. If they're not short, you won't be able to stand your fingers up, which you have to stand them perpendicular to the neck in order to get those open strings to ring. So if your fingernails aren't short, you're going to have to cut them. Sorry, ladies. I hope that helps you out. Those are the basic open chords. See you next time.